Today, Valerie Pierce is going to talk about the benefits of social networking for your society or publication and offer some basic steps on getting started with creating a social media presence. Valerie, a publishing coordinator, has been at Allen Press since 2007. She's involved in creating marketing campaigns and completing research for publishing clients. I'm going to turn the presentation over to Valerie now. Don't forget to use the chat box on the lower right of your screen to send in your questions, and select host in the send to drop-down box. So thank you, and I'll turn it over to Valerie now.
Thanks, Tim, and sorry for that brief delay, having a couple of technical difficulties. Let's go ahead and jump straight in. 100 million, that's how many users are currently on Twitter. 500 million are the users that are currently on Facebook, and 75 million are the users that are currently on LinkedIn. It's becoming increasingly difficult to ignore the growing social networking outlets. You've probably been told that you need to have a Facebook account, or you've heard your colleagues talk about who they follow on Twitter. You can tell by the statistics I just listed that more and more people are utilizing social media. You know that you can use these social media to broaden the reach of your society or your journal. You may even have a lot of really great ideas on what you want to do with social media. You can see the end results, but maybe you're not quite sure how to get there yet. As Henry David Thoreau once said, if you have built castles in the air, your work need not be lost. That is where they should be. Now put the foundations under them. So basically, social media is our castle, and we're going to walk through how to set them up so that you can set your foundation, which will allow you to grow and maintain a social networking community. But before you sit down and take the time to create a Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn Groups account, there are several points your organization needs to think about. First, you need to have a specific goal in mind. If you're not sure what your ultimate goal is, or if you have too many ideas running through your head, go ahead and ask yourself some of the following questions. Are you promoting your journal, or are you promoting your society? A society site should really focus on events happening in and around the society, like annual meetings and membership renewals. And a journal site should primarily focus on the articles in the journal and the science that your members and authors are working on. Every society and organization is different, so you need to do what works best for you. But I would suggest keeping each form of social media focused on one major objective. So if you're interested in supporting both your society and your journal, then you should create separate accounts for each one. The next step is to make a decision about privacy. Will your accounts be public so that everyone can view your information, or do you want private accounts that can be considered a benefit of membership? A public account will allow you to reach the maximum amount of people, which is ideal, but you should make sure you make this decision after you decide on your main objective. And this may be a bit obvious, but just remember that anything you write may be quoted by a third party at some point, so even if your accounts are private, don't write anything false or inflammatory. Now for your objective, start thinking about the following questions. Do you want to keep your members updated on current society events or groundbreaking articles? Do you want social media to be a place where you can thank authors and members for their contributions? Is this a place where you want to encourage discussions about new procedures and studies? Do you want a place to search for people that could potentially work at your society? Do you want to use social media to help expand your membership or your list of authors? Are you interested in looking at what your competitors are doing? And do you want to use social networking as an advertising tool to help sell a product or to offer discounts? Once you've decided what your goal is, then you need to come up with a plan of action. Are you going to assign a team of society members or journal authors to make posts, upload videos, or encourage discussions? A team of people promoting a site can be more effective than a lone ranger, as long as the responsibilities have been clearly divided and communicated. If you have one person who is administrating the site, just make sure to have a backup plan in case that individual gets sick, goes on vacation, or for whatever reason leaves your society. How often are you going to tweet, start discussions, or post ideas? Studies at both Northeastern University and MIT have revealed that 90% of what most people do in any day follows a routine. That means if you want people to check your social networking sites consistently, you need to make updates a facet of your normal routine so that it can become a part of your followers' normal routine. I had a professor in college who used to say that the 5 o'clock news starts at 5 o'clock. Not 4:57, not 5:02, but exactly 5. Now, you don't need to be quite that stringent, but you do want to create a comfort zone for your followers, fans, or your members. Many of you may be familiar with the movie Field of Dreams, or at least be familiar with the mysterious voice that told Kevin Costner, "If you build it, he will come." Now, that worked for our friend Kevin, but unfortunately in real life, we don't always get our Hollywood ending. People aren't going to necessarily flock to your social media sites just because you built them. So then you'll need to come up with a plan to promote the fact that you are up and running with social media. There are several different campaigns that you can do ranging from simple to complex. Some of the things that you can do include putting the social networking icons on your society or your journal site, adding the link to the site at the bottom of your email signature, sending out an email blast to your membership and your journal subscribers. You can also put banner ads on your society or your journal site. And if you're mailing out any printed materials, you can include a filler ad or a small marketing piece that can advertise the site. And you can also promote your social networking at annual meetings. Now, if you have limited resources, or if you want to slowly ease into social media, then you should start off using only one of the different platforms. Once you've decided what your primary goal is, you can decide which one is the best one to help you achieve that goal. If you're mostly interested in providing quick updates or linking to articles and blogs, then Twitter is really your best option. If you want to create a true professional and a social community, then I would suggest starting with Facebook. And if you are strictly interested in providing a professional service for serious industry-based discussions and business networking, then LinkedIn groups is where you should start. As I just mentioned, if your goal is to send out the most up-to-date information about your society or your journal, then Twitter is your best option. It's the easiest of the 3 social media to set up, and it's the easiest to maintain. You will need an email address and a society or a journal image and a business description in order to create your account. You are allowed to make your Twitter account private or public, and you only have 140 characters to get your message across. Tuesday is usually the most active day, so that's a day you're really going to want to put on your calendar and pinpoint. It's best to have multiple people at your company posting, so you'll want to assign different people specific subject areas to tweet about. And you should tweet each working day at the very least, so make sure that you only tweet pertinent information and try not to post any duplicates. And just a note, don't feel like you can only tweet about what your society or your journal is doing. For example, if you see something on CNN or Yahoo that you know your members would be interested in, make sure to retweet their information. Okay, so you've got a plan. You know your goal, and you know who's going to run your Twitter site, and you've got a marketing plan in place. Let's go ahead and start setting up our own Twitter account. In just a moment, Twitter seems to be a little bit slow today, and that happens every once in a while. This is what the Twitter account sign-up page looks like. As you can see, it's all pretty self-explanatory, and it's very user-friendly. First, you need to fill out your company name. It says first name, last name, but you really want it to be your company name because that's what you're promoting. So we're just going to make up something really quick. And then for your username, it needs to be something simple and memorable. We're going to try Science Lovers since we're a science society. And the great thing about Twitter is right here, it's going to tell you whether or not you can use that name or not. So you just need to take a couple minutes, find the best name for you, and find one that's also available. And the great thing about Twitter as well is that for your password, it will tell you whether it's weak, strong, good, bad. And then you'll also put in your email address. you'll want to use a work email address that can be shared among several people and that won't ever get lost. Once you put in all of your information, you'll scroll down and hit Create My Account. Now, I don't want to create a fake account, so I'm actually going to take you to the Allen Press account. But even though I'm taking you to a pre-existing account, I'm still going to be able to take you through every single one of the setup options. So this is the Allen Press Twitter homepage. When you're creating your account, the first option they will give you is to browse your interests. If you do decide to skip this step during the creation process, if you're just a little too excited to start with browse your interests, you can relocate it by going up to the Find People option out here at the top. The Browse Interests tab is the second tab you'll see. And this, once this comes up, this screen is the exact screen that will appear after you've verified your account with Twitter. When you're setting up your account, take some time to play around on this section. You may find some really interesting organizations to follow. Science News, National Geographic, and New York Times Science are just a few Twitter accounts that you may be interested in. The next step is the Find Your Friends option, which is, we're going to skip suggestions for you and go to Find Friends. That's the next option you'll see when you're signing up. And it will let you find all of your members who are already following Twitter. Now, you may have a lot of members that aren't on Twitter. And the best way to get in touch with them is to skip over Find Friends and go to the Invite by Email tab, which is this last one on the right. The Invite by Email tab, this is basically going to knock out two birds with one stone. You can input the email addresses of all of your contacts, and Twitter will send out generic emails to all of them, letting them know that you were officially on Twitter. And I've pulled up the email, and again, it is very generic, but it really does get the job done. And it's free, so you can't really complain too much. Now, after you've browsed your interests and invited your friends, Twitter will bring you back to your home page. Your home page is where you can post your tweets. Before you post your first tweet, though, go ahead and go to the Settings link, which is located up here on the top. This is where you're going to want to go through every single one of the tabs up here just to make sure that everything is exactly how you want it and has all of the information that all of your users will need, or all of your followers, I should say, for Twitter. On the Account tab, you can verify your basic information, and you can also control your privacy settings. You'll notice on the Privacy Settings checkbox, located down here, that you have the option to protect your tweets so that only your followers can see them. You also have the ability to deactivate your account from this tab. But just make a note that the email address you have listed on the account cannot be used yet. And as you see, that it does give you a message and a warning before you do that. So if you decide to make a Twitter account later on, you're not going to be able to use that same email address because it's been deactivated. You'll also want to set up your cell phone so that you can make updates directly from your iPhone, Droid, or BlackBerry, so you're always available to just quickly tweet. And again, since it's 140 characters, it won't take you too long. Next, you'll go ahead and click over to Notices. You'll see that you can control the amount of emails or messages you'll receive when people start following you or when they post a message. This is another reason why you'll want to have more than one person administrating the site. Once you have several followers, you want to have someone checking all of the tweets and comments that are being posted and making sure that all questions are being answered and that everything is appropriate.